When CB750s get overpriced, and no one will budge on Ducatis, where do you go to find a small, stylish motorbike? You need to search for beauty where no one thinks to look.
Not a car!
This is a 450cc parallel twin, dual-carbed, air-cooled, single overhead cam 3-valve per cylinder, 6-speed gearboxed general motorcycle. Honda marketed this as a filler bike between the entry-level CM450 and middleweight 4-cylinder bikes for the US market. Even though Honda had 4 cylinders smaller than 450 cc's, Honda's CB400-4 was a forgotten screamer, this was considered the in-between bike. Whatever, not my point. The CM450 was based on the CM250. It has the same grips, same light, same instruments, same seat. I think even the frame is the same dimensions. But it has twice the power. The C custom trim level gets you a tachometer and a single front disc brake. All CM450s had oil coolers and adjustable dampening for the rear and air-adjustable front forks. Just like the Big Daddy CB900, you attach a hand pump to this nozzle and pressurize the front forks to your desired firmness. The speedometer only goes to 85 miles an hour, because this was during the numbskull years, NMSL, the National Maximum Speed Law of 55 miles per hour, which was in place from 1974 to 1987, which most people forget because it coincided with the malaise era, where smog-restricted engines barely went faster than 65 miles an hour anyway. In 1979, the USA ruled that all vehicles display a speed no higher than 85 miles an hour, but the vehicles themselves remained unrestricted. Honda listed the top speed of the CM450 as 90 miles an hour, but if you lean over the tank, you can push this mechanical tack further down past that number. Although it's going to be tough to get into that riding position with these buckhorn handlebars. Which is the worst part about the CM450, or all of the CMs in general. I mean, I owned a CM250 as my first big bike. I had a scooter before then. Anyway, these handlebars, I had them and they hurt my wrist and made me not like the bike. When you look at the bike straight on, and when you just sit down, initially they feel correct and ergonomic. Your wrists are kind of like at this angle, this 45-degree angle, it feels right. But as you try to handle the bike, this 45-degree angle to the center line it's not 80 degrees, it's not 85 degrees like most handlebars. I mean, okay, for reference, a 90-degree handle is a straight bar across. Those existed on like old school drag racing motorcycles, but fell out of favor because even a slight bend of the handlebars is more stable than a straight bar. Anyway, but if the angle is too aggressive, like this, it puts your wrists at an inefficient orientation to your forearm, making it hard to muscle the bike around at low speeds. It's why this exercise is so hard. What is this called? A reverse dumbbell fly? Double Russian? The Croatian messenger? Mike's secret? Mom's lower drawer? The janitor closet? Bloody doctor's note? Tuvok's holodeck cleanup? Public urination. The sacrament of stone-faced pranitation. Any modern handlebar solves this. I mean, when we did Matt's CB900, those handlebars were off of a dirt bike. I'm telling you, any old Japanese motorcycle, you don't like the handlebars, trade them for dirt bike bars or scrambler bars. They're great. They fit the bike perfectly. They're the most ergonomic handlebars. That's why BMW uses them on the big touring bikes. Anyway, back in '82, Japan was still trying to copy Harley-Davidson's style. At the same time they were innovating with the soon-to-be turbo bike, it makes no sense. So with the CM450, you get this sort of Harley-esque teardrop tank and these sort of chopper 2-into-2 exhaust pipes, but inside the trumpet exhausts are baffles. These bars sort of look like chopper bars. The fenders are chrome like an American bike, and so are the turn signal stalks, mirrors, headlight trim ring, rear grab bar, and fuel cap, just like an American bike. Honda CM450, the official bike of renters who have conservative opinions about property taxes. CB450, the official bike of Jacob E1 Shane. He didn't even go to the MEPS yet, and already he changed his Facebook name to the rank he's gonna be, and his image to an overly muscled, bald eagle throwing a cruise missile like a javelin. He spent his first check getting his CM450 shipped to base, where he paints it with surplus tan. Then, a salty chief calls it a tricycle turdmobile. Shaken, our E1 gets a tank decal of a Sherman tank shooting Little Boy out of its cannon, and the track vehicle has sticker bush balls. Well, Chief sees that, and from then on, E1 is known as Liberace. No one gets the joke, but no one's gonna question the Chief because he's been here since before Madagascar split from Africa. Rumor has it the Chief bottle-fed General Petraeus. So a week after we shot this, Ben comes out and sees his bike on its side. It was a windy day. Can wind blow over a bike with like a cover on it? Did someone push it over? Or did someone back into it? I mean, it's not like the CM450 is broken from this drop. It has no sensors to replace, no computer. The crankcases on these 80s bikes are built for these type of drops. Worst case, you get a dent on the tank, a snapped brake lever, broken turn signals. Honestly, that part sucks because back then they still made turn signal stalks out of metal. Even the scramblers of the 1970s had metal turn signals. That way when you drop the bike or hit something, they bend and stay that way, or they crack off, bending the threaded hole they screw into. It wasn't until the 1990s when widespread use of rubber turn signals became the standard. 1982 Honda CM450, the Henry Clay answer to your one friend with the delicate ego who keeps coming up with excuses for not getting a 250 as their first bike.
250s are for women. A 250 won't climb the vertical road by my house. If I ride a 250, I'd have to hand in my man card.
Man card. I hear that term more than I care to. Look, I'm going to be 40 next year. I'll tell you what, no one asks to see your man card past the age of 24.
No, they totally card you for your man card. I get carded like every week.
No, I'm telling you, the man card was invented by finance departments to get you on the hook for a new truck for 36 months, even though you're still living in an apartment and you need your mom to co-sign.
I don't want to ride a 250. They're all gonna make fun of me. All my clothes are either black or camo. I quote David Goggins every day, but I don't know how to make my bed.
Fine. You know calves having, curls and bench only, muscle milk drinking between sets, pre-workout on your way home, mirror strutting lump. You can have a CM450. In fact, I'll sell you on the idea of getting a CM450 by calling it a 450 stuffed into a lightweight 250 frame with better shocks and brakes. And you'll believe me. And when it inevitably falls over, as all first bikes do, you'll be able to pick it up without having to ask someone for help. And when this turd burglar finally finances a Harley, he'll part with the 450 for $500 to $1,000 just to get it out of his sight. The winner is you, because now you have a vintage, all-purpose bike that will go on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
Please cuddle me, and let's watch the Weather Channel.
Handlebars aside, this is a fine bike. Supposedly, if you're light enough and streamlined enough, you can get it to touch 100, though I don't know why you would. That front brake isn't doing much, and the mechanical drum brake in the rear is doing even less. But the fuel economy is amazing. You can probably get this thing to do 60 miles a gallon if you take it easy. Basic liability insurance in Pennsylvania would probably be less than $100 a year. Depending on where you pick these up and depending on their history, they may not have O-ring drive chains. They may only have roller chains, which means you're going to have to lube the chain after almost every other fill-up. The power band is very flat, and for the life of me, I can't find an RPM where this bike doesn't like to run. It does not have the power to raise its front wheel, and don't expect stoppies. This light motorcycle was made to be basic transportation. Nothing more.
Not a car, this is not a car, not a car, it's not a car, it's not a car, not a car, not a car, it's a Honda, I don't care.